Hey, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. This is your boy Paradox, and let's get on with the video, man. So today's video is about character. And what happened? How I got to wanted to do this video. I mean, there was a couple things, but mostly I was watching this video by this creator named Esper, and she was talking about the women in JJK. And then after that, I started going down the rabbit hole, and eventually I wound up watching this other girl called Yaku, I think her name is. So the other one is Esper, but like that. No, not Esper, but Esper, and the other one is Yaku. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that out. And she was talking about women in shounen. So I, as an aspiring mangaka, author, person of literature, I always wondered like what makes a character, because I've been having some character trouble in the past. Recently I think I gotten better at it and have an idea of what makes a character and what qualities that make a character up, like traits. You can see right there on the screen. We're going to talk about that later, but these people are what I have to thank for the video. And actually there's one more. It's called, and the channel is called Local Script Man. And so these are the people that kind of like help me, like foundation for help me set the foundation for the video. So shout out them and their channels. You should go watch if you're looking for writing advice. And yeah, so what makes a good character? I mean, first we have to define what is character. And like, again, I'm not like English professor, but like we should have a definition just to like rely upon and stuff like that. So character is defined, and I just like search this on Google and stuff like that, is the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. So you have a person, and they have a brain, right? So that's the mental aspect, and then you have the moral aspect. So you got like the law and stuff like that. Hopefully that looks like a hammer to you. But yeah. So you got the moral, and you got the moral, and you got the mental aspect right here, and that's what makes a character. And also the other definition is a person in a novel. So you got a person in a novel, or someone with mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. So that's what they define as a character. Now that's not what we're looking for, honestly, because that's just a textbook definition. That doesn't really give us really anything. I mean, it gives us like, okay, it has to make mental, probably means he has to have capable of understanding things and saying things and doing things and stuff like that, capable of action. And moral means she has to make decisions that are at least bad, good, in between, or something like that. So we kind of get it, but we don't really actually like. Those are just like some basics terms. We're not really gonna get super like anything from that. We're not gonna get enough detail from that. So here are my aspects of a character that need to be implemented, especially in writing. And we'll talk about all of them. So flaws, personality, motivation, background, relationships, misbelief and belief. We'll talk about the difference between them later, and finally agency. So I want to talk about the first four first. The first four, which were flaws, personality, motivation, and background. Now, these things should flow from one to another. there should be a flow. And what I mean by that is that when you make your character, you should make it with either I usually start with it really doesn't matter necessarily order, but the easiest thing I can give you is make it for the background or flaws first, because I think it's much more easier to go base up, like have a solid foundation, and then or just go face down. And you could do it either way, but those are the two ways I would do it. Obviously, I think the background way is better because it's more simpler and probably what more people are used to. You start with the foundation, but again, you can reverse engineer it. And why these so important is because these are what probably most people would do when making a character. Like, if most people maybe forget the flaws, but like, oh yeah, flaws, right? But just your character still doesn't feel like, you're probably asking yourself, even after all this, like your character still doesn't feel like workable, like it's like something missing, kind of hollow. Maybe your main character feels like okay, but like usually your side characters or your secondary characters or your deuter antagonist usually feels like maybe hollow. The writing seems to fall off or something like that. It's because like you probably only have these four and then you don't do anything else, because a lot of it is put on the main character. Obviously he's the protagonist, like he's supposed to be, it's from his view that we're seeing the world, like the world could be a brutal and nasty place, and he's singing sunshines and rainbows and stuff like that and cotton candy, like of course it's dependent upon the protagonist's view, but these are just as important in every other character, especially in any other major character, villains, deuter antagonists, main teacher, something like that. Like these roles, these aspects are important. These are important qualities, and you need to have in these characters. Now, obviously, we kind of know what each of these are. Flaws or the imperfections. Personality is characteristics or qualities for someone's distinct character. Motivation, usually in terms of story, it's the driving force of the plot. It's what the character wants. What the character wants to do, what the character wants to get, what the character wants to be. Background, the history of the character. What happened to the character in the past that made him like that. And you can kind of see how this kind of flows into each other. Obviously background, if he was like, okay, like if I had a background where I looked up to my mom or dad, something like that, I may try to emulate them and do the job or whatever, or try to be my version of them. So if my dad's like a superhero, or I do my dad a superhero, like he's a firefighter, police officer, whatever, garbage man, whatever, doctor, like I may try to do something like that. Emulate that, be trying to be a doctor, policeman, fireman, whatever. Like that, and that's the background. And then that's the motivation, is be like him, something like that. That's the motivation, be like him. And my personality is trying to either emulate him and try to be like him, and try to emulate the qualities that he has. And then my flaws is trying to be like, it's always trying to copy off other people or something like that. My flaw could be like, oh, I'm not my own person. I don't exist without my dad. I'm absorbed as this person. I don't want to do anything else. I don't have anything other interest except for being this person. I'm only gonna look up this person, and I have nothing else. Like, not being my own person could be a flaw. Being too my role model being too influential on my life could be my flaw. Something like that. Something that I'm too eager to be, too people pleasing, or too pleasing to my parents or whatever. It don't really matter, but I mean it matters. But like, it just has to flow. It just has to make sense. It just has to be consistent and be connected. And so that's why. But it's why it's so important, is because this is like the foundation of a character, of any character usually. And minor characters will have less and less of these. But some characters won't even have like flaws, motivation, background. Some characters will have personality, but usually those are the characters that have like 1 second in the show. But for the characters that have staying power, that you determine are there to stay, they at least need to have this basic thing, and I'll talk about the other things in a second. Alright. But one of my favorite characters that has all the 7 too, is Naruto Uzumaki from the show Naruto. And since we're talking about anime specifically, when we talk about characters, but writing in general, but anime specifically, I thought like no better off than Naruto to be the example. Naruto is one of my favorite anime of all time, and he's one of my favorite characters of all time. And I was just like, this is just easy. So we all know Naruto's like background. We all know about the Nine Tails, right? This is the background. Nine Tails attacked the village, right? Attacked Konoha, or the leaf. Motivation, Hokage. / to be respected, right? And that could be the motive. I'm kind of writing kind of big. I noticed that. His personality, well, he's described as a hyperactive knucklehead, so hyperactive knucklehead. And you could say that he's for his flaws, I like to put stubborn. I don't know, actually, is that how I spell stubborn? I'm not sure. Might be dumb. Stubborn. You could say too eager. I forgot what the better word for that, but too eager to engage, to react, and to attack and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And maybe even a little bit of naivete, naive, because it's from a lack of experience that he has, especially in the first part of Naruto, base Naruto, that he doesn't have that much experience. And you can even say ignorance, because he doesn't have that. He does lack knowledge, but like, these are just a couple of Naruto's flaws. But the flaws also make your character endearing, because they make him more relatable, because you're human. Like, we don't want to relate to someone who's perfect, because we're not perfect. We're never gonna be perfect. And for someone who's realized, oh wait, I'm not perfect, for them to mess up, for them to fuck up, and then realize they fucked up, and then they get better, is so rewarding, not just for us, but not just for them, but for us too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like to see people work out their problems and end up with a happy ending, and that's because they worked hard. They figure out, oh wait, I the problem, or I have problems, and they want to work it out, and they did it. So that's why we like Naruto. Now, this next one, relationships, and this is why this is important. So I was just talking about Naruto, and this is why Kishimoto said he couldn't write female characters or girls or whatever, bro. And this is why I think part of the female cast sucked. Tsunade was okay. Sakura got better. You know what I'm saying? Still wasn't good. Got better, but this is why I think they kind of messed up with this. Because you have Naruto, right? And why relationships are so important, you're just gonna find out right now, right? So Naruto has a relationship with Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, Jiraiya, Kurama, that's not Gaara. I don't know if that's how you spell Gaara, by the way. I'm gonna mess this up. Is it? I don't know how to spell Gaara. You got Gaara. You got Shikamaru. You got Nagato. and Killer Bee. And this is to name a few. There are more, and there are less. Like, you know what I'm saying? That just stuff like Lee, where he has some interactions with Lee. He has some interactions with like Neji. You know, they, especially in the first part, they have some interactions with Lee, some interactions with Neji, all this other stuff. In the second part, they don't have the Konoha 11 don't really speak that much, or really like don't really do nothing outside of, you know, like missions together. So, you know, their relationships are kind of like weak, but these are probably one of the strongest Naruto's strongest of Naruto's relationships, and you can see why Naruto's, like, you can see the difference of perspective within each character. Like, none of these relationships are necessarily the same or treated the same, and Naruto interacts with these characters a little bit differently, you know, than each one. So the relationship is more defined because it helps. That Gaara's relationship with Gaara's relationship with Naruto was one first, like, it was like Gaara, you know, didn't really care for Naruto. He wanted to kill him, probably. You know, Gaara was like this person who was hated by his village. Not Naruto was about that murder. Like, really murdered that bruh. Was really on some demon type timing, and then once he met Naruto, like, hey, I'm the same as you, bro. Like, you know, after the fight, it's like, oh, I'm the same as you. You know, you're the same as me, bro. Like, I feel your pain. And then, like, Gaara was like, oh, so there's people like me. There's people I can understand. Someone actually understood my hatred, my pain, my experiences, and validated me. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that there was people capable of doing that. And that is why, like, that relationship works. You can see that each one of these relationships is different from necessarily the other relationship. Now, there's some kind of similarities, like you could say like Sakura and Sasuke or something like that, or anything like that. Like Jiraiya and Kakashi, they both had like parental roles in Naruto, and Killer Bee was definitely like a mentor friend to Naruto. Just like Jiraiya and Kakashi were, like, you just kind of see like the relationships between them. And even Kurama was again a relationship to a character is also can be villainous. So Kurama was an enemy at first, and then later in Naruto Shippuden, he became a friend. So again, if by the way, I shouldn't have to say this, Naruto's already 20 years old, like over 20 years old. So if you haven't seen Naruto, I'm sorry that I may have spoiled something for you, but like, it's been 20 years. I'm not really that sorry. But like, there are clearly different, you know, types of relationships in here. You know, Sasuke was a brother, rival, enemy. You know, Sakura was a crush, sister, friend, something like that. Kakashi was a mentor, teacher, friend. Jiraiya, mentor, you know, father figure. Kurama, enemy, you know, enemy basically, and then friend later on. Enemy, same with Gaara, enemy, friend, but for different reasons, there are different types of like enemies, friends. The relationship is different between each of these, and each of these relationships help define what Naruto is today. Now, this is why I think one of the reasons, not all the reasons. I'm no English teacher with a PhD in English or something like that, and writing and whatever, and creative writing or something. I'm just not, okay? But so if I'm wrong, please tell me in the comment sections what you think and what you believe, and some additions or subtractions that I should make. But until then, let me cook. So Sakura, this is why. So this is why I believe that Sakura wasn't as fine as Naruto. Now, Kishimoto said he can't write women. You know, he didn't know how to write women characters. It sounds weird, female characters. It sounds weird, but you know what I'm saying, woman, girls, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I think he failed. Well, I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure this is one of the reasons why he failed. So here we have Sakura, her relationships: Naruto, Sasuke. I think that's how you spell Sasuke, by the way. Kakashi. And then after that, it kind of gets like, okay, Tsunade. I think that's how you spell Tsunade. And then it's like, Ino? Question mark? Sai? Question mark? Lee? Question mark? you see where it's starting to become more apparent why Sakura is kind of bad? Because she hasn't gotten time to develop any other relationship other than with Naruto and maybe Sasuke. And I know you're saying, wait, what about Kakashi? What about Tsunade? Okay, let's really get in. To be honest, there's not that much she did with Lee. Lee saved her once. I think she was taking care of Lee during the hospital, but we didn't even get to really see nothing about that. It wasn't, even if it was like too little too late, and it was only a little bit, and it was never, really touched upon again. So, Lee, no. Sai, he was part of Team 7. They had some run-ins, they had some interactions, but did it amount to anything, like talk about some deep stuff? No. Ino was in the first half. She talked about like how the name symbolized flowers and stuff like that, and they fought and stuff like that. We got to see their history, but after that, did we really get anything? No. Alright, so I think everyone should agree on those. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, this is not Sakura hate. I'm just trying to explain to you that why Sakura feels so underwhelming and underdeveloped. This is one of the reasons what I believe. Okay, Tsunade's like, not many people in shonen, not many even female characters in shonen have teachers. Like Nobara. Nobara is one of the reasons why I aspired to make this video. And Nobara had no teacher, especially before, shit happens with her. If you don't know, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But, she had no teacher all the time. Wait, why am I saying Yuji? I was picking up Yuji and Yuta, but Yuji had Gojo, he had Sooth, Nanami, he had Gojo, Nanami, and Todo. He had those three teachers to help him along. And you have why am I forgetting bro's name? why am I forgetting Fuchigoro? You have Fuchigoro. I don't know why that escaped my name. And he at least get taught by Gojo. And this is what I'm pretty sure that Esper brings this up in her video. So shout out Esper. But nobody gets no teacher. There's 2 seasons. Fuchigoro gets his own gets Gojo, and Itadori has 3 teachers that teach him different things, course technique, and some other stuff about Black Flash, and some other stuff about Black Flash, and like you and curse energy and stuff like that. Like, you just get 3 teachers, and Fuchigoro gets 1, and nobody gets 0, and now that's part of the problem. But the other part of the problem is they don't get as much enemies. Enemies are so important. That's why we like Naruto, because of Pain, because of Gaara, because of Kurama. Like, these people have Sasuke even. These people have enemies, and the more enemies you have, the more enemies are supposed to not only challenge your beliefs, but prey on the weaknesses, but prey on your weaknesses. I'll say that, but most likely your flaws. Weaknesses / flaws. That's what enemies do. And so if some characters like Sakura don't have a lot of enemies, as you can see this on the chart, like, I guess you could say was a rival, but the rest of the stuff are kind of friendly to like, Sai is just like someone who is just annoying, but he's not an enemy. Lee's definitely not an enemy. Ino's a rival at best, but we don't get too many much time to explore that dynamic. and the rest of them are friends. You could say Sasuke is an enemy, but even then, like there was nothing really to do about them. They barely even had the interaction they had was one of her just simping for Sasuke, which again I don't think her liking Sasuke is a bad thing. I just think that it not being expanded upon is the bad thing. I don't think I don't like the sentiment that's saying because you love someone it's a bad thing. I don't like that sentiment. I think that sentiment is kind of stupid. It's that the fact that the love has not been explained, because we can't just say, oh yeah, they love each other. That's it. Like you're not. No one's gonna be satisfied with that. No one should be satisfied with that. Like, oh yeah, they love each other. You gotta have to show me. The HO saying, "Show don't tell." Like, even though I have problems, I'm saying like part of that is true. You have to show me why these characters connect. What's the connection between these characters? And because Sakura doesn't have strong connections with at least most of these people on her relationship, in her bonds and stuff like that, in her relationships, she feels more hollow. She feels like Naruto's friend and Sasuke's, wannabe girlfriend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's not a character. She's more like a helper. and that's the reason why, is because she doesn't have relationships of her own that are explored and to help to deepen her character. And she doesn't have enemies to help, challenge her beliefs, to make her feel, useless, to make her feel bad, to play on her faults, to prey on her weaknesses and stuff like that, because she just doesn't have them. And I think that's what was one of the mistakes. So we have that. So the next thing we have is misbelief and beliefs. So this is kind of what I was alluding to, but so there's a difference between misbelief and belief. And misbelief, if you want to know more about this, I'm gonna give you the Spark Notes, but search up Abby Emmons, because she told me all about that. And she does really good videos about writing and stuff like that. So if you really want to know more about writing, more details than I can explain, go to her channel. She's really good. Yeah, but if you want to know more about misbeliefs, then just go to her channel. But that aside, the misbelief, so we're gonna talk about that first, is where fear meets desire. Or, in this case, the want meets the fear. Whatever they fear meets the desire. So, it's kind of like, basically it's like, this statement is, like, a misbelief statement could be like, I have no friends, right? Because I'm ugly, or some shit like that. Like, I have no friends because I'm ugly. Like, that's why she believes she has no friends. She has no friends because I'm ugly. She wants friends, but her fear is because she's ugly, and that's why she has no friends, right? Or basically it's like, I want friends, and this is the want, obviously. Because it says this is the desire, right? And the fear is getting rejected, or being alone, and this is where the whole thing meets. So you have the fear of getting rejected, being alone, and the loneliness, the rejection, and you have desire to be with people, to be around people, and you have no friends because you think you're ugly. It's this thing about having it's a lie that you tell yourself is true. So it's the lie they tell is true. And why this is so important is because this is what character development is built upon, right? That is why the misbelief is so important. Again, check out IBM's. This is what character development is built upon. This internal conflict, which breeds character development, which, you know, in character development is what you want in your story. This is the purpose of your story. You want your characters to be like, okay, no, I don't get friends because this and this and this, or I just don't have self-confidence, or I just don't walk up to people and say, hi, what's up? Yo, my name is James or something. I don't know, like you have something that you think is true, but it's actually not true, and it's something else that's preventing you from achieving what you want, right? Is maybe you just don't talk to people, maybe because you just have social anxiety or something like that, or you're afraid, and you use this thing that, oh, I'm ugly and that's why I don't have friends. It's a lie that you tell yourself that is why the reason you don't have friends, when it's not really true, you know? It is, again, it's not you know, honestly, but it's your character. It's what the character thinks is true, but it's actually false. It's a lie that they tell themselves that is true. And this is what helps, help them develop as a character. Once you feel like, oh wait, I'm friends, but I have a friend now, but I'm ugly. So am I not ugly or something like that? Like, oh, maybe I'm not ugly. Maybe that wasn't the problem. Okay, what's the problem? And you start to get on that track. It's like, oh, this is the problem. Oh, I just didn't talk to people. People thought I was weird because I didn't talk to them. And then this whole cycle turns like people thought I was weird because I didn't talk to them, and I didn't talk to people because they thought I was weird. Really, I was like, oh, they actually like, I don't know, crafting, arts and crafts. They like knitting or something. I don't know, man. Like movies. Like, oh, they actually like horror movies. Oh wow, I actually found friends. It's just something that you have to deal with each character, and that's why misbelief is so important. Because if you misbelief, you can actually help develop your character, and that's what you want in a story. Usually, there's certain stories like SpongeBob and stuff like that, certain shows and certain anime that are specifically for comedy purposes, and that's okay. So I'm about to wrap this up. The last thing we're going to talk about is agency. I'm going to have myself. So beliefs. Okay, so this is just going to be really quick. Beliefs are it's simple. It's simple. Beliefs are what the character believes, and especially what the character believes about a particular situation or the current situation, right? You can have a situation where you have you have four characters. You're trying to figure out whether they should kill this person or not, right? And two of them are against it, and two of them are for this. The people are against this because one character is against it because it's like, the system should decide. The justice system should decide, right? This person is against it because the moral reasons, the moral implications, right? We talked about that. We talked about a character has to have moral qualities and mental qualities to be considered a character, an individual with moral and mental qualities or characters. So he's doing it because of the moral dilemma it presents. These people okay, screw this. No, because of the society. It's better for society if this bruh's gone. Like the killing the Joker type stuff. Like, hey, if you kill the Joker, it's better for society. That's one less person we have to worry. One less dangerous person that we're gonna worry about. And this person's like, yeah, they kind of hurt me. This person is more like a personal reason. They kind of killed my father, so I say kill them type stuff. So you kind of see each on argument. So if your character is in a similar situation as this, or your characters are in a certain situation as this is what you want. You want conflict. You want conversation. You want them to have these ideals that they hold, that they believe in, because that's what makes them more of a character. That's what makes them more of an individual. And you don't want to just follow like, oh yeah, killing is bad. You don't want everyone to be down with everything that character has to say, that the leader has to say, that the main character has to say, because it's not realistic. You're gonna have different opinions because you have different backgrounds and different ways and different morals and different ethics and different viewpoints on different things. It's just what characters are. You're not gonna be the same all the time. Even if you're twins, you're gonna disagree. Like you're twins, you're like 75% related. Like that's the most out of anybody ever in the world. That's the closest person to you genetically. Like you're gonna disagree with that person. It's just gonna happen, right? You're not perfect, and you're not telekinetic, so you can't read minds. You're not perfect, so you're not always going to be able to do everything perfectly like they want you to, or they do everything that you want to, that you don't want them to do everything that you want them to do, because you're not perfect and they're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes, they're going to make mistakes. Not everybody's going to be right all the time, not everybody's going to be wrong all the time. But this helps you develop your character more, because these situations make the more of a character of an individual, and we can see this. Like, if your character is good, we should be able to be like, oh yeah, that character would make that decision because that's how they've been raised. That's how the author has written them. That's how the writing of that character would make sense for them to say that. You don't want a character who's been good the entire time, right? The entire time has shown no progress of like killing, murdering, violence, and is strictly against that, unless he's been pushed to the brink. that's the only thing that's like, unless something drastic happens, drastic. That's not what drastic. I don't know. Drastic happens. You're not gonna be like, oh yeah, you should kill him. like kill him, torture him, kill him. Take out his eyeballs, something like that. Stab him 1,000 times. That character shouldn't behave like that unless he's been pushed to the absolute brink. Like that's the only reason. But like this situation, we have a killer gone loose. They don't really know the killer except for that one person, and the other people don't know the killer. The moral person don't know the killer like that. The moral person would be like, no, we shouldn't kill this, bruh. Killing is wrong, right? And unless they're being pushed to the brink. So that's what beliefs is from. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory. Honestly, I don't think anyone's like gonna be like, oh wow, that's what beliefs means. But in case you are, there's something for you. Again, you're not stupid if you don't know. But like, this is pretty like stuff you shouldn't have to think about. Stuff that you don't really think about because it's kind of automatic. There should be different sides because characters are not the same. So different sides, different moral quandaries, different ways to look at situations, different ways. Characters should look at situations differently. Not all the time, but sometimes there needs to be a different set of opinion. So there's conflict and there's conversation, and that's what you want in your story. Okay, so the last one is agency. And this is just characters honestly making decisions. This is just decision making. I don't know how. I think it's this. I want to say this is decision, but I think it's like that's decision making. I think that's how you spell it. But this is decision making, right? It's this simple decision making. Your characters should be able to make their own decisions, and when they make their own decisions, it should dictate how the arc's gonna go, right? So a lot of characters, a lot of major amount of characters, always have to go along with the protagonist's plan, always, and that's not realistic. That's not what I want. This, like I said about beliefs, decision making is also. Some people are gonna make stupid decisions because they feel like that's the best way to do things, and that is okay. You need to explore that path more often. I think people need to explore that path more often, because you're not gonna be, characters again are not perfect, so they're not always gonna know exactly what to do all the time. In fact, probably 40, 50, 60, 70% of the time, they're not gonna know what to do, especially if they don't know about the world. So they might choose the moral decision, like they might take the moral standpoint, the moral viewpoint, right? They might take this point right here, this point right here, to be Mr. Moral. No killing, no doing this, no hurting anybody. I just want peace or something like that. But the world around them may be like, fuck that, man. We do murder over here, we do larceny over here, we do all this other stuff over here. We best be pirates over here, Vikings over here. The only law is if you're strong, you can do whatever you want. That's the thing, and it's gonna be this person that she's like, okay, so how am I gonna survive? How is my morality going to survive in this place? That's why we like it, because in an environment of swords and spears and arrows and knives and guns, how are they going to survive? How are they going to survive? How their morality going to survive? What decisions are they going to keep? Are they going to keep their morality and vibe? What if it's a pirate that has someone they love at gunpoint and they have a gun in their hands? Are they going to shoot the gun? Or are they not going to shoot the gun? They let that other person die? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? You gotta make the tough choices here, because you're a writer. You can't just do these expected all the time. You gotta kill your characters, and that's one thing I do want to talk about real quick. I know this video is already like 40 minutes long. Killing your characters don't mean you kill your characters. And I know that you're like, what do you mean? Killing your characters, that means, basically, what it means is you're hurting your characters in some sort of way. It's basically you hurting your characters. Now, hurting could be physical. It could be mental. It could be emotional. It could be spiritual. Right? Like, punching. Like, physical could be punching, kicking, cutting, whatever, killing. That could be one way you kill your characters. Another way is you can mentally hurt them. You can mentally beat them down, saying you're trash, saying they'll never get past me, saying all this stuff, talking trash, insulting them, bullying them. Like, that, it's something. You gotta be mean to your characters. You gotta hate your characters, right? You gotta be like gay, be like gay, but don't be like gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, just balance it out. You don't have to kill every character, but you do have to hurt your characters, and there's different ways to do it. Again, mental bullying, usually cyberbullying, something like that. Whatever you're saying, like constantly getting a test, constantly studying for a test and they keep on failing for some reason, whatever. Constantly betraying their trust and stuff like that, mental anguish or something like that. Like, even give them hard quizzes and stuff like that. Let them do hard tasks. Mind control, something. Emotional, obviously killing a family member, killing a dog, killing, a friend, something. But like injuring them in some sort of capacity, hindering them, hurting them in some sort of capacity. Spiritual, killing their god, killing the ritual, doing something with the church. You have to do some, but again, it doesn't have to be always physical. It doesn't have to be a physical type of death, and even with physicalness, you can just, again, cutting off an arm, cutting off a finger, cutting off an arm to a sword player who's right-handed, a sword player, a sword fighter who's right-handed, and cutting off his right arm. That could do a lot for him, especially if he likes the sword. Especially if he's like, hey, I need the sword. I'm only good when I'm with a sword. I'm only a warrior when I have my sword or something like that. Like that could be the misbelief again. Like, I ain't a warrior without a sword. I ain't a warrior without two hands. I'm not strong without two hands. I'm, this and that. So killing your characters has to be a thing that you do. It makes the story more interesting. You have to put in some type of pain, some type of anguish, You need to hate them so they can grow from that, so they can develop from that. And that's all, y'all. Thank you for watching. I'll be back next week with a video. And peace.
She look killed this shit.
Dollar in my pocket, getting paid with minty with some money on the way. Oh shit, left the Ziggy on my tray, yes sir. Oh my, what a way to start the day. Dollar in my pocket, getting paid with minty with some honey on the way. Oh shit, left the Ziggy on my tray, yes sir. Oh my, what a way to start the day. Please make sure you don't give me none of my hoodies back. They'll just remind me of you and I can't handle that. But I'll be okay, I know that this is just a process. Yeah, and I'm making progress. Fuck it, I'm back and bustin'. They hit me on my celly, I hang up, there's no discussion. Then be high, no repercussions, I can't concern myself with the past. I'm swerving, ducking, shade that they're throwing. I know you mad, you heard it. Deep inside I know you wish you had somebody to love or somebody to keep you around. My head's in the stratosphere but my soldier on the ground. I'm bumping BSP in the whip and it's turning loud. Dollar in my pocket, getting paid well. Minty with some honey on the way. Oh shit, left a Ziggy on my tray, yes sir. Oh my.